Hello YouTube, it's LilDerek.comics back with another video, and this is going to be the part 2 to understanding layers from last week. And so we're just going to pick up right where we left off. Okay, so let me zoom out. I'm going to go to the magnifying glass. I'm going to click in and then just drag down. And then I'm going to use these arrows to move it around. All right, and feel free to pause and, rewind and everything. I'm going to click X. All right, so let me fix up a few lines just to like make it easier to fill. Because pretty much like I told you in the last video, you always want to fill in the lines so it doesn't just fill up the entire page. So what I'm going to show you next is to turn off the layers, right? So I showed you, you can turn off the background, right? So if I turn back on the background, it's white. But you can do the same thing with all the layers. So this little eye icon, this visibility thing, you can click it and turn it on and off, and that'll pretty much almost temporarily delete the layer. So if you wanted to turn off both of these sketches, now you have the line art. And it's very rough and kind of ugly, but it's the line art. So say I have that, and I'm gonna tighten up this open area again, and I'm gonna go to the eraser. I showed you the eraser tool in the last one, and oh my gosh, that's big. So we're gonna go to this, the bars, and we're going to bring down the size with heavy pressure and click X. And now I have a decent eraser tool. All right, so now that I've done that, there's a few things I can do. If I don't need these sketches anymore, I can delete them as I showed you. Um, they're locked, so you can't delete them. You'd have to unlock them first. But what you can also do, I'm gonna unlock it, unlock layer, unlock layer, and say you want to keep it, but you don't want both. You might draw like 15 different sketches, and then eventually you might want it into one. So what you can do with those sketches, or just layers in general, you can click and then shift click, or if you're on desktop, you can shift click. If you're not on desktop, I'll show you what to do. You can shift click and click as many layers as you want to. I'm just going to click these two. I'm going to go to my little triple bars, and then I'm gonna go merge layers. If you are in the app, it should be merge below or merge all layers. If you wanted to merge all layers, you can do that, but you can kind of just switch them around and merge below. I think that's how that works. So I've merged my layers. So now it's just one layer. I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna Control Z, and I'm gonna do it one more time just to show you. So say I'm on this line art layer, I'm gonna go to my sketches, I'm gonna click the first sketch, the second sketch, shift click, and I'm gonna go to my triple bars, and then I'm gonna go to merge layers. All right. And again, some of these you're gonna have to find. It's different from the app, and depending on the software, it'll be different too. But that I just went to that. So boom, you have it. You've got one layer, and you can just turn that one layer off. You don't have to keep swapping between layers, right? So now the last thing I'm gonna try to do is show y'all how to color with this, right? So now we don't want to edit this anymore. We're gonna start a new layer. I'm gonna click, and I got an idea. We're gonna delete this. I'm gonna duplicate this layer, right? So you're gonna hit the triple bars again, go to duplicate, and now you have two of these. So if I turn this off, you'll still see that I have one. And I'm actually gonna color in this, right? This is a simple version. This is not how I usually do it. It's just for people that are new. And I'm gonna go to this color wheel, or I'm gonna, however I get to this color wheel, I'm gonna click that little dot right there. And I'm gonna bring this up so I have a greenish color. I want a Shrek green. And I'm looking over here. Shrek is kind of like this lime-ish kind of green color. So we're gonna get a little bit more yellow and a little bit darker. I think this is a decent Shrek green. All right, now I'm just gonna fill in these lines. So I'm gonna go to my paint bucket tool, remember from the last video, we're going to the paint bucket tool, and there's a solid fill. Make sure you do the solid fill because the other two are gradients, and that's helpful, but not for this video. This is gonna give you the solid color. Let me demonstrate actually. So the solid fill, something's not filled in. The solid fill will do that, and the linear fill will do this, and the other one will do this. So make sure you go to solid fill, and I'm gonna fill in that gap. Make sure you always fill in your gaps. If the fill tool isn't working, you probably didn't fill in the gap. I'm just letting you know. Why is it doing this to me? Okay, so I think it should be filled in now. Again, this is not how I usually draw, but I know there's a lot of new people getting into this, and I'm trying to show them the basics. So we're gonna go back to the paint bucket tool. All right, so let's go back, and I'm gonna go back to this kind of Shrek green that we had, and we're gonna try that fill tool again. It got most of the skin. I can go back and fix that. And so last time I showed you this tool, it all filled it in one layer essentially. But now that I have it, what I can do is I can fill it all in one layer, or I can go to another layer. Say I wanted to do that, and I could just test out colors. So say I wanted to get a darker version of this, I can, you know, just get this, and then I can kind of just experiment with some shading. So now he's got some shading under here. That's one thing you can do. The applications for this are endless. And again, this shading layer I have going on is below the line work and above the first color. So yeah, there's something you can do with that. Just a little bit of shading really helps enhance the piece. That's one thing you can do with it. So just play around, do a few new layers. I usually like to put each color in different layers. I'm gonna get the eyedropper. I just clicked eye. I forgot where exactly it is on the app, but you can eyedrop, or you can just go to the colors and make a white color. And we're going to just color in these white areas. I can't really see. Let me go transparent, and then I can fill in that white. I'm just gonna make this bigger. Increase the size. All right. I don't want that on top of here, so I'm gonna make a layer under the skin, if that makes sense. And I'm just gonna fill that in. In fact, I'll go ahead and fill it all in, just the white areas. And you don't really have to worry when you're working in layers, because you can always draw on top of it. It's kind of like actually painting. You don't really have to worry about where it goes because you can always paint back on top of it. It's kind of like that. And then I'm gonna go back to this color picker, and I'm going to make a brown. So I'm gonna get like a darker orangish color, make it a little bit more red. Yeah, there we go. And now I'm gonna go on top of that white layer, and it's still under the skin. So there's a layer for the brown, and I can paint that in. So I don't really have to worry about overlapping with the skin at all. It's always going to be under that skin. And if I wanted to, I can grab it and move it. You see the blue bar again. And once that blue bar is under the white, I can move it like that. That wouldn't really help me, so I'm gonna undo that. But yeah, this is our basic Shrek, and now the onion needs a bit of color. I guess I'll make the onion like a kind of yellow tone. So I'm gonna go with the eyedropper tool again. I forgot what it is in the app. This was kind of not well planned, honestly. I hope you app users are following along. I'm very sorry. We're going to change that green a little bit to a more kind of yellow, like light yellow color for the onion. And I'm gonna make a new layer for the onion. And that looks fine. That looks fine. I'm gonna eyedropper and click the brown. Be careful of your layers. They can get very confusing. But I'm gonna shrink the size of this brush and I'm going to color in these eyes, right? And the reason I'm not coloring outside of these lines or on top of these lines is because this top layer is the outline. So make sure you always have the outline above all the colors. And make sure you're not drawing in the outline. Make sure you lock that outline if nothing else. Because if you draw in that layer with the outline, it's gonna be a pain. It's going to be such a pain and you're gonna regret it. And you might be wondering, that's a lot of layers. How do you deal with that? Well, again, like I said, you can merge them, but depending on the software you're working in, there's folders. And then now I can turn off that group. I can close this up. So if you tap that folder, it'll close it up. And so now you have the colors and you can rename these. I'll go to the three bars again and then I'll go to rename and I'll just call this colors. So yeah, now the colors are all in one group. The line art is in a group. I merged the line art in another layer. That's why it's still kind of showing up. But otherwise, this line work is in its own separate group, and I can even yeah I can move it around if I wanted to. So there's that. So yeah, I've pretty much covered most of what you can do with this. Like I said, I'm not trying to show you how to draw Shrek. I'm just showing you different applications of layers, right? You can make multiple layers. You can use them in your drawing process. I know this was a bit difficult the way I structured it, but hopefully you were able to follow along despite me, being all weird about it. But hopefully y'all were able to piece together something and learn where everything is. Like I said, feel free to rewind and everything, but I'm still new to the tutorial thing. So if you need me to redo this tutorial or simplify something, go into something specific, let me know. But I'm going to finish off this drawing and I'm going to just put my signature. I'm going to start one new layer. So I'm going to click above the drawing and I'm going to just put my signature.